Nope, so, you're excused.
If there is any other questions with anything, feel free to call me. Yeah, I mean, give me a call anytime, really. You guys all have my cell phone number, so, or my email.
Sounds good, thanks for it. I couldn't get it, I figured you'd. Riley, do you have a report for any news, anything up, Riley?
I was just wondering with solicitor license and burn permits, is there a way when we get those in, to either email them or does like a Google Drive or something so I can, if I get a complaint, I can verify if there's like a burn permit?
Yeah, we don't have any solicitors right now.
You said burn permit, correct?
Well,
Oh, you had 3 applications come in
Yep.
today. And the burn permit, Brad has them on an Excel spreadsheet, he could send that to you. As it's, then it's updated as they come in, right, Brad?
Yep.
because it's just hard sometimes when you go and they're like, they should have a physical copy though, too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that might,
They-
that might,
Yeah, they don't necessarily get a signed copy of it.
They just signed to say that they read the rules, and, because I know some people have been burning when it's over 9 miles an hour, so. I think they came to the former village president. Bad place to stop at.
yeah, so I sat down with them 3 times. The problem is their mapping system that they use uses mailing addresses. So they'll get like a Big Bend address, and then it's in the village.
Big Bend, yeah.
Usually green signs.
That's what I've been doing. They have so many people out right now. It's like every time you get a call, it's a different person. But yeah, they have permits for the surrounding areas, just not in Vernon. But he told me he was coming in today to apply for a license.
They did come in, right? Brad?
Yes, 3 of them did.
That's really all I got.
All right. Riley, if you ever need us to put anything on the agenda that you'd like the board to elaborate, or if the board has questions, we'll delineate that on the agenda.
Oh, one more thing. Is there any room on your guys' newsletter for like a little section for like, to remind residents to lock their cars, bring valuables inside from their cars, park in the garage and lock their doors? We've been having a lot of entry to autos and car thefts out of Milwaukee. They come and they target some of the off Union State because you can't be out.
Riley, can you just state that into the microphone so that people can hear how important it is to lock your vehicle? And
Yeah, so they have residents lock their vehicle. I don't think it's on.
It's got power, but I don't know if we can hear it.
we didn't pay the bill.
I'll just talk about it.
There you go.
So, locking your cars, taking your valuables out of them. If you have a garage, park in the garage. Lock your doors to the garage, your house, because the surrounding areas have been having a lot of entry to autos and vehicle thefts, primarily out of Milwaukee. They come in off interstates or main roads, saturate a neighborhood, hold on handles, do whatever they need to do. They get a car, they drive it back on the interstate at a high rate of speed. And they're only entering unlocked vehicles, unlocked houses. They're not breaking windows or anything like that. But a simple thing that people can do, they're not doing. So it's making it easy for these criminals to enter these cars. So,
And once again, Riley, if people see anything suspicious, they shouldn't hesitate
yeah,
to call it.
Yep, call 911 or the non-emergency number, depending on how you feel the situation is. And we'll respond out right away. We've been doing saturation patrols in neighborhoods off interstates to try to combat this, but we only can be in so many places at once.
Right.
But they hit the village of Waukesha earlier this week, so it's not long before they come down here, especially with the interstate that runs right through.
Close some more renters.
That's another whole topic.
What time of day are those?
Overnight, so like 2 a.m. to like 5, 6 a.m. is when they're coming through.
I'm sleeping then.
Yeah.
I'm wide awake,
Lock
they're
your
welcome
doors.
to come to my property.
Yeah, but Dylan, you have a gun. Yeah,
Would you encourage people to use cameras
Yeah.
held on the properties?
if they have them.
Yeah, I mean, cameras are good for after the fact.
Yeah,
I mean,
But still.
Yeah, that's
your
what I
car's
mean.
gonna be gone and they're gonna be wearing masks, or it's gonna be dark, the video quality's not gonna be good. I mean, the easiest thing is lock your doors. Right now they're not breaking windows to get into cars. It's just, they're going around neighborhoods, pulling on handles. If your handle's open, they're gonna try to take it or steal everything in it. it's a lot, like 3, 4 a night.
Wow. But they haven't been in Vernon.
Not yet. Village of Waukesha's the closest. They've been to like Muskego, New Berlin, Village of Waukesha, and then like Sussex, Lisbon, all of them that hit.
Well, thanks, Riley.
Yep.
You take care. Stay safe, Riley.
I try.
Board members, next agenda item we have is Resolution 2024-7 approving the Wisconsin DOT McGuanago Urban Area Map. You see the clerk administrator not only put the resolution, but put a substantial amount of information in regards to what the DOT is requesting. I know the administrative clerk had answered a lot of my questions, but I still called Mark because I had a couple more, and
That's fine.
he was great about explaining, because my biggest thing, Brad, you know, I was concerned about competition for road funds, you know, and you can see that it's not a huge change for Vernon, but I personally have no problem, you know, adopting this resolution, but would like to hear from board members. Like I said, Brad, thank you for all the information that you put in the packet and all the additional questions I had you asked previously. So, any questions from the board, or should I make a motion to approve and then we can discuss, or what would you like, board members? I'll make them.
The bridge?
No, this is a resolution amending, the DOT has, based upon the census, they amend the maps based upon the population, and they like to make those maps contiguous, so they're not spotty. It's really, McGuanago has a, you know, and they are more urban than we are, but it's a substantial, I think does it go into the village of Waukesha?
Yeah, it looks like the map did, you know, go up to Waukesha and that, so it is the density there, and you can see that is the higher density area that we have in the village.
I was gonna say, I accidentally cut her off before she even
Yeah.
made the motion, so I'm all over the place today.
So yes, we do have that.
And it goes up where Pheasant Run, the new subdivision, it takes in Myers Drive, Skyline, where there is a lot of population there. So, I mean, for the sake of moving on, I'd make a resolution to adopt Resolution 2020-24-7 approving the Wisconsin DOT McGuanago Urban Map Area. Is there a second to my motion? Second by Trustee Newman. Discussion from the board.
Yeah, as long as it's not gonna affect us in any way, I don't.
Yeah, I think the only.
understand the need for it, but.
The only effect, Brad, is that those areas, we would apply for different grants than we would in the more rural areas of.
Yeah, it's the pot of money, so there's urban and rural pots of money for funding, and those areas would be now in the urban pot instead of the rural pot of money. I think when I was doing some, you know, research on it, it seemed like the last go around, the pots of money were about the same. And then, as Karen said, it is broken down into 3 kind of population categories. I think under 5,000, 5,000 to 20,000, and 20,000 and above, 20 to 50,000, I think. And so there's that. You know, we're competing against communities that are from 5 to 20,000. So we're not competing against the Milwaukees or the Madisons or the Wauwatosa's, and we're not competing against the Big Bends. We're competing against the McGuanago, you know, both McGuanagos, the Village of Waukesha, stuff like
Just
that.
for those areas then.
Yes, under the
In that
that'd be under the
identified
urban.
map area, yeah. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. The next agenda item, Brad put in your packet the proposal from Accurate Assessment. And we wanted to put, when Brad and I were putting the agenda together, we wanted to ask the board if they wanted to do an RFP to look what other assessment firms possibly could offer Vernon, and the annual evaluation concepts and options. Brad, did you want to explain C?
So, as you guys know, last year we did a book reevaluation, which is where they just do it by the book. There's like I don't want to say walkthrough, but then the other option for reevaluation is they go out and do actual physical site visits to all the properties. Some communities do it as needed, as like the Village of Vernon's done as needed. So once you kind of get to that 80% okay, it's time to do a reevaluation. The state will force you at 80%. The other option that communities will use is they will do a reevaluation almost every year, but they will, split their community up in thirds or quarters or sixths. In the 4 communities I've worked in, all of them done, with the exception of Richfield, have done reevaluations needed. Richfield, I think, did, when I was there, they were doing like a quarter or a fifth of the village a year. It's all dependent upon the community and what you guys want to do. With how the property values continue to increase, it's driving the need to do these reevaluations now every 3 to 4 years we're seeing, where, previously you maybe weren't seeing that when property values weren't increasing at the rate, 7 to 6, 7, 8% a year. So I think it comes down to, when we look at to, kind of go up and talk about B and A, Accurate given us their proposal. In terms of other firms that are out there, there's only, maybe a handful of firms. When I looked this week at some stuff, there's Associated Appraisal, there's Magna still doing some, Tyler Technologies is doing some, and there's a couple of small handful of others that are doing it. So there's not a huge plethora of options out there, but a lot of communities do RFPs, so it wouldn't be difficult for us to find an RFP to put one together and send it out. I just don't, I wouldn't expect to get 10 proposals back as, my expectation that I want to set for you guys is, if we get 2 or 3, I would call it really good at this point. But, as you guys looked at the cost from Accurate, the field work is, costly, but, it's up to you guys as to where you guys want to go, and you don't have to make any decisions tonight. It's just more of a direction, as we probably need to have something solidified by September, October at the latest.
And I personally, would like to see an RFP. I mean, I know Brad indicated that there are not a lot of assessors out there, but I think it's still worth checking to see what's available. I know when the village board looked 3 years ago, and we do have an RFP that I think we should just update and put those options in, the C option in there. We'd probably have to add that, Brett. I don't remember off the top of my head if we had it in the last RFP, but I don't know how the board feels about doing an RFP for assessment services. That's something we could get out relatively quickly. Brad's not going to be here at the next board meeting, so I wouldn't entertain doing anything till July. If the board concurs that we should at least look.
How often were we doing them in the past?
They had, I don't think, the last time they did this was 3 years ago, and I don't think they did one. Magnan was here when I was the town chair, when dinosaurs traveled in. I mean, a long time. We've had Magnan for a long, long time.
Does Cal live in the area?
No, he lives in the city of Waukesha, or Eagle now, I think.
That's who I saw in Walmart the other day.
Well, he does a lot of communities around there.
Yeah, I mean, I can send you guys a list that I saw the other day. Waukesha, New Berlin, and Brookfield have their own in-house on staff. Cal does, I think, some of the more like country communities. Associated Appraisals is, probably the other big firm competitor with Accurate. They're both, Accurate's out of Menasha, Associated's out of Appleton or Fox Valley area.
They do the village of Mabonic.
And they do the village of Big Bend. They do, I think, Sussex and Pewaukee and that. So, I mean, it's the same type of firm that, we currently have. So, I mean, and Tyler Technologies, I think, is a smaller one, but they were doing Muskego or somebody.
On the state, it lists on the state's website, it lists all the assessors in every community. If you'd want to look in Racine County or Waukesha County, it lists them all. But Brad's right. There's not a plethora of, but that doesn't mean you can't
No,
look.
I think we should send out our, I know with the class assessment that went through, there was a lot of issues with what we currently have, and I wasn't overall that impressed with them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Brad, if you wouldn't mind, I can show you where that's located. And I don't know, board members, I think we should at least put, what their proposal. Not that we necessarily do that, but it'd be good to see what all the assessors. That's going to be a high dollar you know, because it might not be a walkthrough, but it should be what you're paying for. They should be documenting. That's where they catch, I hate to say this, but a lot of people that did development in their homes and didn't pull permits, you know. So, you know, for the sake of discussion, I'd make a motion to begin the process of developing an RFP to bring back, for assessment services, to bring back to the board in one of the meetings in July. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Trustee Finch. Discussion from the board. Like I said, Brad will work on that. I just, you know, and Brad, if that first meeting because of your vacation is tough, because I know we're just focusing on finance, we can always do it the second. We still have time, because our current assessors will take us through the end of the year. But we just hate to wait, because if it's a budget item, we need to know what's gonna happen.
Yep.
That's good.
Sound good?
Yep.
Did I take a vote on that?
No.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next agenda item is the Village of Vernon, Village Hall, DPW facilities, fire station facilities, and funding. Several of the board members, when we were listening, the question of the referendum, the advisory referendum came up. I wanted you to see the attorney's letter. The State Legislative Council gave an opinion on it, but just wanted to see what the board's, I was really disappointed, because we had one resident that came in to see the Village Hall facilities, and I'm not blaming the public, but I know several members that are in the audience have seen both facilities. I'm not picking on you guys, but we had two meetings for the public to come in and look at all the different facilities. The fire department had a few more people come in and look at the fire department facilities, but just wanted to get the board members' opinion on, is there a direction you'd like to go, or?
Well, it's been a total of less than, what, 10 people?
Yeah, I mean, there's
You know,
only...
for spending all this money. Which I think is pretty sad, because they sure are bashing it on Facebook, but none of them have any of the facts or nothing about it.
Yeah, I kind of, I mean, they have a right to speak, but it'd be nice if they...
You know, my opinion of this is, I hate spending this much money. It's really gonna affect our taxes for the golf course. But at the same time, this is needed. And if we kick the can down the road a few more years, it's just gonna be that much more expensive. So, worst case scenario is to bite the bullet now, get it done with, versus waiting a few more years when the taxes will even go up even more.
Jay,
Well, the only thing I have to say is, I mean,
speak into your microphone. Sorry.
well, the only thing I would like to do is, you know, see if we can get a second opinion on if we can add on to our existing buildings, because I know for a fact, with that fire station, it was built in 1990, and my thought is, if I see that go to the wrecking ball or the bulldozer, you know, without seeing if we can add on first, I know there's gonna be a war going on in the village here.
Did you, in the report, it does talk about the drawbacks that can't even add on to that building. Did you see that in the report?
I didn't look at that closely, but, you know, that's my...
No, I think the add-on costs were almost, well, $1 million difference in starting over brand new for that square footage. And that's just with a guesstimate, because you keep running into so many problems. If you do add on to it, the flow of efficiency isn't there then either, because it's going to be all hodgepodge and everything all spread out. So it's kind of a, you're better off knocking it down and starting over for a little bit more it's going to cost.
It's not built like a warehouse, you can't just add a piece onto it.
Yeah. Keep it unified.
So board members, Gary, you have to talk into your microphone. You have to talk into your microphone so people can hear you, because
All right.
they elected you so they can hear your voice.
Yeah, okay.
So board members, what would you, did you want to proceed? I know Jay, I obviously heard what you're, you know, wanted to add on, and, you know, I just looked what it said in the report. And
The only thing I'd like to do before we make an official decision is hold one more meeting and put it in,
the Freeman?
the newsletter.
Oh,
If we
okay,
could time it, put it in
Yeah,
the
well, that's-
newsletter,
yeah.
'cause I think then I think we've done our due diligence of saying, all right, we've gotten it out there as best as we can. And if
right.
nobody shows up to that, then it's like, all right, you know.
Yeah, that's something Brad and I talked about. And
Yeah.
he could devote, I mean, we put a couple other things, Riley's request and
Yeah.
some of the
Everybody
other.
in the village gets that.
Yeah, well, that would be great if we could set that date now so that, because the newsletter is on the agenda, so we're not playing foul
Yeah.
here. But that was one thing that Brad talked about, dedicating that entire putting as much information in that newsletter and letting the public see.
Yeah, well, I think we should we should have books, like we got those booklets, and maybe have, I can't remember the guy's name.
Devin?
Devin, thank you. Devin come back in just one more time. We set the date, have it, when the newsletter goes out, have it, 2 or 3 weeks after the newsletter hits, so that
Right.
people have a chance to say, all right, I'm gonna make my schedule and make time to go to this. And if nobody shows up to that, then I say, all right, we can make a decision then. If all of a sudden there's everybody out there with pitchforks and torches, that might affect our decision, but, I think if we do that, we've done
Yeah.
everything we can to get the
Because getting
information out there.
you're right, Dylan, getting that information, no offense, I mean, we don't have very many people that watch us on Facebook, and, I may watch us on YouTube, and our Facebook page is down, which is not the end of the world, and, I mean, Brad has it up on the website, all that information on the website.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the facility's needed in my mind. I want it to be so out there that it's not all of a sudden the decision is made and we've signed a contract
Right.
and then everybody finds out about it. I
Right.
think that would be the worst possible thing.
I agree, I think that's a great idea. Does the board concur that the next newsletter, the other nice thing too we could mention, Brad, is on YouTube, the last meeting when Devin was here, that meeting is word for word. It's capsulated by, I don't know how that happened, but everything that Devin said, you can read it as he's speaking to the pictures that are which I think is very helpful. And then we'd have the books. I know, like I said, I think more people that I talk to are looking it on the website, but for our residents that don't, at least they know the studies are here. We can have some available that they can sit down and read it or check them out, or I donate my books.
Get to the YouTube website and see the presentation.
Right,
See all the
right.
information.
Exactly.
Right.
But at least if they know what's going on, they've at least had the chance to come in and speak their mind.
Right,
And if nobody takes us up on it, then I think the ball's in our court.
And in the newsletter, you can direct them to what we have on our website.
Yep.
right,
Yeah.
and
So they
YouTube.
can go look at all the quotes and stuff.
It's probably our most up-to-date page on our website right now. I mean, not the other stuff isn't updated, but it's the one that, at least I've been focusing on the most lately. So, I mean, like President Chu said, the stuff from Devin's meetings in early May is on there. The second meeting where he presented again is on there. And then
Did
you
we
link
put the legal advice about advisory referendum on the website?
that is not the letters from the attorney were not in the public packet as we traditionally don't. I mean, at this point we could definitely release it and update the packet, and if the board wanted to, I would have no issue doing that. I'll always defer to you guys on that stuff. So it definitely could be released for the
Be opposed to adding that onto that page so that people understand it's something we looked at. And
Absolutely.
And there's probably some stuff from I think there's probably been some league materials as was part of last year's budget that they probably had some materials on it. I'll have to go back and look and see. That could also be added on there to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know to put it on the website, because I think, it's just my opinion, the amount of information that Brad's gonna put in on both facilities are gonna take up a majority of that newsletter, which is good. The only thing too is if we put, some of that financial information, I'd like to get some of that information,
put
but
a
also.
QR code on there or a website URL.
Right.
Just a link right to it.
Right.
And people can say, here for more information.
But I also wanted to explain that factor. I think, I'm almost positive Justin has in there that $2 million every other year
Yep.
factor and that's something, you know, nobody can complain about. We have to do that every year because there's no way we could levy for the capital or our roads are costing. But like I said, what we'll do on this item is, board members, do you want to make a motion or do you want to wait till we get to the newsletter? What would you like to do?
A motion for
Do you want to
putting that in the newsletter, or?
instruct the clerk administrator to devote the next newsletter to all the facility studies for all the facilities?
I'll
The
make
only
that
thing,
motion.
and then set a date for a public informational meeting.
Yeah.
Sure, or I would reach out to Devin.
Oh, yeah, we gotta. do
Devin,
some-
so I mean, I think, so the way the newsletter is probably gonna lay out is, my hope would be to have it probably sent to the publishers as soon as I get back. I think is probably how it's gonna lay out, so, you guys could set the date while I'm gone, and then that's the only final thing that has to really be entered into it.
Yeah, because you'd wanna do another presentation meeting with Devin on YouTube
Yeah.
again,
And-
And I
and
think
then
we
set
could
a
just,
public.
we could do one more, you know, and if that's in the newsletter, then I'd be pretty comfortable
And
feeling out where everyone.
I think the Saturday was more convenient for people to come,
I-
you know,
I think so,
you know,
too.
so,
Yeah.
but when we talked to,
Yeah, I mean, I think with Saturdays, so my recommendation would be, but to keep it on a weeknight. I know that, you know, Saturdays might seem better, but people have, you know, go out of town, or they got sports, they got, you know, plan. I think if you do a weeknight and you give enough notice, do it at, you know, like 6 o'clock like we are,
6:30.
or even
A little bit
6:30.
later.
Enough notice,
You
at
know,
least like 2
people
weeks.
make their, you know, 6:30, people are usually done with work, they got enough notice so that they can say, hey, if I gotta leave work a couple minutes early so that I can get the kids, get home, get fed, get here, they can. So it's stuff like that, so I would recommend a weeknight, even though, you know, Saturdays,
and we could always do both. I volunteer to do both.
Both would be better.
And I know the fire department wants to see people in
Well,
their
if we take a
building.
good enough video of Devin too, we could play the video at one, and Devin would only have to show up to one of them. We could say, well, Devin's gonna come in and give a presentation on a weeknight, but then on a Saturday, we're just gonna play the video up on a projector or TV, whatever.
Right,
And maybe out in the shop out there, I don't know. But, if we give people enough notice, I think the last 2 of them, or 2 or 3 of them,
right.
I mean, we kinda jumped on it. It was like a
You
week.
can replay the last video presentation too.
That worked too, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I
I think he
mean,
does have good input with questions too.
I would say potentially you may wanna have the meeting at the fire station where it's summer, they can pull the equipment out. I mean, parking is gonna be challenging wherever you have it, but at least there's a bigger indoor space than here, you know, if you get,
They've got the training center where they can put a projector up and show
Right.
the video.
The only thing is we couldn't broadcast any of that on YouTube, but we don't do that for those public information.
Yeah,
When
but if we
people
just
come
filmed
here.
it, we can post it on YouTube later, it just wouldn't be live.
yeah.
So, I know, Dylan, I'm sorry, trustee Newman, you made that motion to dedicate the next newsletter, for the facility studies and the remaining information. Was there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by, trustee Pecca. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, and I'm sorry, does the board want that additional, information from the attorney and the league and Ledge Council to be put up on the website in regards to referendum?
I think we should.
Would you have any problem amending your motion to add that to the
I will amend
motion?
that motion to add that.
And then, Jay, would you second that motion?
I'll second.
And is there any objection from the board to that amendment? So just note for the record that we're gonna, you know, add any information we can give the public in regards to this issue. And the dates and stuff we'll get after Brad gets back from vacation.
Yeah, I mean, perfect world, I would probably try to have some of this stuff written before I go. And then you guys can pick dates. I mean, looking at it, if we have everything ready to go when I get back, then we'd be looking at like probably to go out right around the 4th of July. I think, you know, probably hit mailboxes. 'Cause you kind of figure usually 2 weeks or 10 days, and then, so I would think you'd probably want to look at something like the 3rd or 4th week of July to meet.
25th for the weeknight, and then the 27th or something for the
But my only question, because I can talk to Devin, do you?
Oh, yeah, we wanna talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, but I mean, those would be like, that's where, you know, if you guys are saying you want enough time, that's where I would kind of target is
Yeah,
is that kind of time period.
yeah, because that still gives us enough time that if we do move forward, that we can get
Right.
things rolling.
And it is, I know it's not in any of Devin's information. I know it was stated at the meeting, but I think it's important that the public knows that every year we wait is 1.5
It's a lot of
million
money.
Yeah.
at a minimum, so, I mean, they should know. And we haven't, and we'll give them the actual age. I wanted to, you know, tell them when everything was added on this facility, and we'll get the exact age of the fire department so that they know.
Well, it'd be nice to have a list of the other things that we're adding into, so people realize, oh, like, some of the capital purchases that are being replaced, you know, we would have to go out and buy that separately, whether we touch the building or not.
Oh, and their generator, the parking lot is shot.
Their parking lot is shot, the generator's shot, their
Right.
compressed air tank compressor is
The
shot.
showers are awful, the wash machines for their heavy equipment.
Yeah.
That collection system also, like when.
Oh, the septic system, yeah.
No, when they start the truck.
The exhaust system.
The
Oh.
exhaust system, I guess that is.
Yeah.
That's out of order right now.
All right, guys, we got a plan? Okay, we'll move on. Brad, any questions, Brad?
Nope.
Okay. Next agenda item is it's a motion, we're discussing amending Chapter 270 of the Village Code related to sexual offender residency and restrictions. I would just ask the board if we could just table this item to possibly, Brad, I hate to put, probably July when you're back.
Yeah, yes, I think we'll have a better idea if we talk with our council tonight in closed session as
Right.
to when it would be, but I would just, as President Shu said, table for now.
I just motion to table until we have a date that's more substantial.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion was made by trustee Newman, second by trustee Pecca. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, the next agenda item is a motion to rescind Resolution 2024-4 amending the village bond schedule. As you saw from the attorney letter, John made some changes to that resolution. So I would make the motion to rescind motion 2020-24-04 amending the village of Vernon bond schedule because of the changes that the attorney made to that resolution. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Finch. Discussion, as I stated, you can see the next agenda item is Brad actually drafted the resolution based upon attorney comments. On this motion, there was a motion made and seconded to rescind the motion of the previous resolution. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And as stated, Brad has made all the changes to amend in Resolution 2020-2408, amending the Village of Vernon bond schedule. So this motion would obviously, that motion to do that, and then forward it on to Judge Powers for his review and approval. So I would make that motion to approve Resolution 2020-2408, amending the Village of Vernon bond schedule and forwarding the bond schedule to Attorney Mark Powers. Is there a second to my motion?
And and I updated the bond schedule in there too, if that wasn't said.
Based upon attorney comments.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Finch. Discussion from the board? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Approve and authorize the village president and village clerk administrator to sign the intergovernmental agreement with the village of Mukwonago. When the administrator from the village of Mukwonago, the village president, their attorney, our administrator, myself, Sean Malarkey, John Macy were all in when we drafted the agreement. And then we sent it to John for legal review, and the changes the changes are a lot more than we discussed when we were all together. And the issue is Village of McGuanago, we approved it in October, and so did the Village of McGuanago. Was it in October?
Yes.
And then John gave his legal comments in November. The Village of McGuanago has already adopted it. And so my concern is, you know, I'm pretty sure if we go back now and start changing things, it's going to have a huge effect on the development. I mean, I appreciate John's comments, but in this case, I totally disagree. I hate to see, this is going to ruin everything.
They're gonna redo theirs then too, and, yeah.
And that'll be very difficult for them. Well, there's we really should work on, we need a motion, well, I shouldn't say that. We'd have to really jump to, item H, to ask the board if they want to rescind that motion that was made in October, approving it contingent on legal review. It was contingent on legal review.
Yeah, I mean,
my motion would be to approve as it is.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to rescind the original motion. You can just say that, I think a motion, if you guys were inclined to approve it as is, and that's, as President Chu said, Attorney Macy's, I had a conversation with him about it. All his 12 comments there were basically all just kind of, I don't want to say all checks. There was 3 that were, I don't want to say watch-outs, but corrections, and they were the ones that were related to inserting the date. I think it was item number 5, section, which is item number 5, and then also number 12, which was force majeure, which they're recommending after COVID that any force majeure clauses be removed. The rest of them are all just kind of watch-outs and would have been there no matter what in legal review. And Attorney Macy isn't opposed to the approval as the way it is. So I think if you guys were inclined to approve it as is, you guys could approve it. Motion can be motion to.
We haven't approved this in the past.
No.
Yeah, we approved
it was
in October
approved.
of 2023.
Right,
Yeah.
but-
We got our legal comments back in November of 2023.
To approve them as, approve the document as is,
Contingent on legal review.
or that's what it was.
Well, the next line says no action will be taken if we approve.
Yeah, so I mean, you could say your motion to concur with the motion made on
October 23rd
23rd.
of 2023.
And that the board has, reviewed the legal comments from the attorney, and the board will approve the document as it was presented on October 12th.
I'd make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Mukwonago as it was drafted in October of 2023. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion. That was by trustee Millies. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Brad, is there any other direction you need on the newsletter, the next agenda item?
No, I think we're good for it.
You good? Good? Board members, you good? What Brad's gonna do is get something drafted up for the board to take a look at. Either Brad or I'll talk to Devin, I'll talk to the fire department, we'll get things in play for the next time we discuss that and get the newsletter out. Jay?
The only thing, can you put a little section in there, how to get proper weather warnings?
You mean besides on your cell phone?
On your cell phone, revert to your cell phones and,
Do you think we have to tell people that?
Well, just, the reason why I'm doing it is because I recommend it is, I'm trying to get these people to get, I'd like to see these people get proper weather warnings without, thinking they can only rely on sirens if we have them.
We don't have.
We don't have them.
Board members, do you want to see, you want to see something What do you want, what would you propose to tell them, Jay? Do you want to draft
I don't
something
know, by the
up?
time this newsletter comes out, we're past tornado season.
Oh, if it comes out later, then forget it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, it'd be something better for putting in the winter for coming to the spring.
Oh, okay, I can
To get
understand
more-
that.
Yeah, and the next newsletter, because this newsletter, if you don't mind, I'd like to dedicate, because there's a ton of information.
Oh,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
You can always wait till
information
spring.
that has to go in the next one. We had a former supervisor pass away. There's some Eagle Scout, there's some fluffier stuff that's important, but we'll do in the next
Yeah.
newsletter, because I think Brad's gonna be challenged
Yeah.
to get as much
And
in
it's-
this newsletter.
I mean-
We always wait till next spring.
The only other item that'd be, you know, a little blob in there would be like, you know, just election stuff, because this will be the main one that
Yeah.
comes out for
Yeah.
August, so just that. But, I mean, it'll be,
And a reminder for November.
yeah, November, but,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Next winter, we'll put a big picture of you holding the letter.
Like this.
Or the cell phone.
Okay, Brad, you're gonna work on that.
Yes.
Brad, can you do me a favor? On the X drive, I put, I want the public to see this document. If you just go to the X drive, Brad, can you get to the X drive from your
Yes.
computer? Just go on the X drive. Let's see where I put it. Let me do date modified. If you go date modified, potential access path, you see that? X drive, just do date modified. You see potential access path?
yes.
Okay, if you could just put that up on the screen, because the board members, Greg, can you turn up my microphone?
Yeah, I don't know why they're so quiet
It's probably
tonight.
my husband on the other side. Turn her off. Okay, board members, I wanted to explain something extremely important. We were on the phone on Monday for an hour and a half, on the phone on Wednesday for almost 2 hours with the DNR, the DOT, our engineers, everybody that's been working on this project. And as you know, Mr. Bartholomew came in to our public hearing for the Fox River, our informational meeting, and specifically stated that he and his family have never wanted and do not want people on their property for the liability and all the damage it's causing to the crops. And our village board concurred with the Bartholomew family 100% on that. The DNR now, in the 11th hour, well, almost to the 12th hour, has come back and said they understand, they don't agree with the village board, which I was so irate, because he said to me in this call with everybody there, said, if you were a town, you'd have no say. And I said, that's exactly why, one of the reasons we became a village, because when you're a town, even though I believe in town government, you have no voice when it comes to many, many things. And when he said to me, kind of snide, because Attorney Macy had said something very factual to him, you know, very, very concerned about the liability of what they're proposing to us. And so he came back and said, well, you know, if you were a town, you wouldn't even have a voice in this. But I said, well, we do. And he was asking what the DNR wants us to do is develop, you see this little red line up on the upper left-hand corner? That is a little tiny path that goes behind the bridge into not into the river, but drops off, stops where somebody could get into the river. And my objection was, how are you going to construct that path? Supposedly, it doesn't have to meet any ADA standards, any type of pathway to a river or walkway. There's a doctrine that says it doesn't have to meet ADA standards.
Convenient to the DNR.
Aren't they worried about the minnow or something?
No. But this pathway would be constructed with large riprap and then filled in with gravel, traffic, recycled asphalt, TB, traffic bond. And Attorney Macy's comment is, well, who's going to maintain it? And the DNR said, well, the villages. And I said, I can't speak for my board, nor can our board speak for future boards on what, you know, someone's going to do. And the DNR indicated, well, the chances of it washing out are nil. And that's not a fact, because I showed him several areas when, you know, that water came right up to the bridge and most of Center Drive was flooded. But, the issue here is, they want, and our attorney, I have to say, did an excellent job, you know, asking, he was very, very concerned about our liability. Our engineer, Chris Saskey, that Brad knows him very well, is extremely concerned about signing off as an engineer to this type of a pathway. So what's happening now, the DNR, the DOT, our engineers are all, everybody's checking with their attorneys. I did contact some of the people I know at the state level to, you know, if the DNR, Brad was there when we've had meetings with the DNR, why they're doing this now, because we're really close on timing for the appraisal and the negotiations and things. I was so upset that they're bringing it up now, and I said to Craig Webster, you know, this is at the 12th hour, you know, you're jeopardizing a $2 million grant. So that's what's happening now. Everybody's checking with their attorneys. Our
So
attorney.
they're trying to require us to do this.
Yes, with no funds. They're, you know, it's like a mandate. And once again, if we were a town, they could do whatever they want, but we're a village and we do have a say. And I did tell the DNR, and I'll let the board, I'll let Brad know it so he can let you know what everybody's attorneys are going to stipulate in regard to this. Because it's a sad thing, if you see the slopes, I don't know how someone, and John brought this up too, somebody's going to bring a kayak down this pathway into the river is, you know, virtually impossible. And the DNR kept saying, well, I looked back in 1970 and people were on Mr. Bartholomew's land in 1970, and I said, I don't care. I mean,
Trespassing.
right, that's his property, not yours.
Property, you have the right to kick them out.
Right. So number one, I wanted to take it back to see if you felt the same way I felt, and see if you feel this pathway is something that the village wants to see, of which.
So this isn't even on our land, this is on his land.
No. This would be in our prescribed road right of way. We're not proposing to buy any of the roadway or the road surface or the right of way, because it's ours by prescribed right. So it would still be in the right of way, but even John indicated, you know, someone trying to use this path, he said it's virtually impossible. He was worried about, you know, the liability to the village and also future boards. And the DNR kept reiterating in the meeting, this path is a reasonable solution for the public to access the public waters. I also explained to the DNR, we have a launch on Ralph Hibbert's property in the village of Vernon. That's not McGuanago, that's in Vernon. The Southeastern Wisconsin Fox River Commission and the county are building a beautiful boat launch where the old Fox River Inn used to be on 164 across from Siege Paintball. The village of Big Bend has a great cement launch right by the river. So I said to the DNR, you know, it's not like we don't, and I have no objection if someday someone wants to work with someone, a property owner. I did contact the county also to see if Waukesha County would work with us to build access to the river. And just by the lay of their land and the levels, they said no, and they referenced the two that are already in Vernon.
Sure.
So before, I wanted to put this on the agenda and Brad to put it up so the public could see what's being proposed. And I did explain to the DNR what we all agreed upon about Mr. Bartholomew's property. And I did say, and Mr. Webster had said, well, nobody's citing people. And I did say we could easily fix that, put a sign that if you go on this property, you're going to be cited for trespassing. Because Mr. Bartholomew and Bob, when he was alive, he posted that property all the time, and people just threw it off and went and used their property. And I'm concerned about that family's liability. Jay?
I feel Mr. Bartholomew has every right to post his property and kick them off. I have a river going through the corner of my lot, and I would not want hunters or, if anybody's scoping, like for hunting anything coming on my property, because I can't have the liability.
Well, don't tell the DNR that.
I know.
I agree. Tell them to talk.
So the question is, does the Village of Vernon Board support this pathway that's going to be built for a reasonable solution for public access to the waters?
Is this a vote now?
Oh,
You
yeah,
need a
absolutely.
motion against the
Yeah.
path?
The
I'll make a
pro-
motion against the path.
The
I'll
pro-
second that.
Okay, so the motion was made to, vote
If
against
they want a
the,
pathway, tell them to finish the bridge and the power line there, so you can take that to Big Bend.
what's that?
The
Oh.
bridge over the river that's missing on the We Energies path. Tell them to build a bridge there, complete the path.
Or tell them they can pay for it, take the liability and maintain it.
That's one thing Attorney Macy did ask for, is the DNR to put in writing that if this would be built, if the village board supported it, would there be letters on record that would absolve the Village of Vernon from liability? And the
That's the only
DNR,
way I'd be okay with
Did-
it.
the DNR
They
said
paid
no,
for it.
they said they know they couldn't do that, and they
Did-
can't pay for it.
Was the question asked if the DNR could obtain the easement for this instead of the village?
No, the DNR has no power to do that.
Just force us.
It has to come from the village board, because it's our right of way on a prescribed road.
I'll second that motion.
It was already made, you have,
It's already made and seconded.
Yeah,
yeah. And it does say the pathway as proposed on the map, right, Brett? I just want
yeah.
it acknowledged that you actually saw the map, because they were drawing this in the meeting. And I have to admit, Attorney Macy did an excellent job. In fact, at one point, the DNR and John kind of got in. But John, I have to, he did a really.
John's been standing up and fighting here the last couple of months.
I think he enjoys that part of it.
Yeah, probably does.
Further discussion from the board, any discussion in this regard? Because you gave me exactly what I needed, and I'm sending an email out to all that. And as I get the information, I'll send it to Brad, that Brad can send it to the board. Sound good, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor, we did that. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Brad, note for the record, that is unanimous.
Mhm.
Thank you, board members, because I know our engineer and everybody was glad to see it was on the agenda. Letter of credit to release the Pheasant Run subdivision, letter of credit. Brad, I know we had an old letter from Andy. Is it just the 10,000 he's got left?
I think so. I would have to go back and look at our records. I mean,
Because it's beyond the 14 months that we can legally keep it anymore, correct?
I have to go back and look at our records and see what's there. I don't recall. I know we decreased it at a certain point.
Right, I think we decreased it to 10,000, and I know Mr. Beam, well, you know what we'll do is get this on the next agenda, the dates and the times, because I know he wants his money, and I know state statutes only allows us to keep a letter of credit for a certain amount of time, so we'll check that, and we'll put it on the next board agenda. Is that okay with board members? They're asking us to hold off on that. They're doing a few more things to make sure they have everything in order. Brett, has Keith Nyman talked to you at all?
He's not talked to me, but I know he's talked to Vince and to Brett on stuff, and that, you know, they were gonna do some work today out there, or there was some additional work that needed to get done, but,
They're still gonna pave that driveway, right?
It is paved.
Oh, is it paved?
yeah, and there's another big thing, there was a fix to the road, the edge of the road that crumbled off that they were working on. There was some stuff in the ditch too that Brett was working with them on, and I know that they were trying to expedite to get it done, but I'm not sure
Yeah,
if
Keith-
it's all completely done yet, but I know that it's really close.
And they have some trees that didn't take, so, and they have warranties on those trees, so they wanted to make sure that all their landscaping was intact and good to go before, so Keith did say to hold off on that, so we don't have to have any action on that item. Next agenda item is setting a date to review the provincial invoices. Scott had said if you want to meet earlier before the next board meeting, that'd be fine. Do you want a special date? Because I did ask Scott, he's going to stop in with Brad because he says he doesn't have all the documentation. And Brad's got that, we had that all in our packet. Not his certified, not his CU, he's just saying he got bills with no documentation, which I know Linda always sends it out, but, so, and I did ask Scott to give us a list of what he's all objecting to, because that would help us 'Cause I have no idea where, what they're objecting to, so I asked him to make us a list, and he might ask you, Brad, I
That's fine.
don't know if he's coming in tomorrow to talk to Brad, but I did call him to ask him, he said Tuesdays were bad for him. But he said, I'd be willing to come in earlier before the next board meeting, or if you wanna make a separate date. But, what would you gentlemen like to do?
We don't have anything, we have, planning commission next week,
Yes,
we can do Thursday, next week Thursday,
I could just do it before a board meeting if we could.
that'd be fine too.
that's what he said he could
Versus
come in.
Versus another night coming in, yeah.
Or we can do it
Just
next
got to
week
do it the
before
20th before the meeting.
The planning commission.
Before that, yeah.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
I'd rather keep going one night here versus.
Agreed.
Yes, I agree, Jeff.
And if everything gets resolved, Brad talks to him, just to say it does get resolved. He goes ahead and he puts down his letter of credit and he puts down,
Yeah, all that's been,
huh?
He's
Is
done
there any-
all that, the letter of credit and the access agreement are all done.
He's just
He's
more
debating
finding
the
out
invoices on,
expenses.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So he's already filled in everything, so he's moving ahead, except for the cost of the invoice.
Right, yeah.
I don't think he signed the encroachment agreement or whatever.
Yeah, he did,
Oh, did he?
he did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then he's all set.
He's just
So the-
subjected to the cost and the
How long do you,
process.
how long do you think this will take?
it shouldn't take too long if he gives us a list of what because I said to him, it would help, we need to know what he's objecting to.
Mhm.
I'd set aside at least an hour.
Yeah, so if we meet at 5, do you want to do it before the next plan commission meeting?
Yeah, let's do it next.
Or yeah, which is next week, I don't know if that's enough time for him to review, but.
Yeah,
When do you leave?
He said,
I don't, I leave next week,
Why don't we
Friday.
do an hour before the next board meeting, that way we can look, read,
And-
if that is really, continue right.
And you
before
guys
the meeting.
have, if you wanna do it before the next board meeting, that's fine with me. I mean, I've given you guys my memo on where, from a staff perspective, we have, so at the end of the day, it's down to the village board to make the determination now as to what needs to be done,
Or we can
so.
wait for you after you're back done, doesn't matter.
Like I said, you got my memo, so if you guys wanna act on it,
But with it being before a board meeting, we can continue right into the board meeting after that's over.
so you think Thursday the 20th,
All the board meetings.
Thursday the 20th works for me. 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, Thursday?
Yep.
Jay, can you make that?
Yes, I can.
Brad, can you look up a little special agenda for that, or,
yeah.
because, I'd like a separate agenda, because, not that, people can come to it, it's gonna be a special meeting, I just don't wanna do that at a board meeting.
With the board meeting,
I mean,
immediately following.
Right, yep.
Because we
So,
have to have
is there-
half hour.
So the consensus of the board is to schedule that meeting for Thursday, June 20th at 5 o'clock. I'll make that motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Millies. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, in your packet, Brad gave you all the emails, he gave you the Hawes report, he gave you the citation report, he gave you all the information on the complaint on the dog in Hidden Lake. And at staff, we talked to the attorney about that issue, and he said the board could either tell them to call when things are happening. We could send a letter reminding the property owner that they have to keep their dog under control and on their property. Or do you want to send it to the attorney and have him review all the information? I don't know, and he could make a recommendation on, what the board could do. But
Did we ask the person at the county if they had any recommendations, like John had said to?
I talked to her, and she had said, you saw her report, she had said they would not, no, because, number one, the documentation, they didn't have the documentation.
Yep.
I think even the picture, when the bite happened, it happened, I think, in February, and the citation was issued in March. Some of the things that happened, not that it's a big deal, but,
The documentation just isn't good enough
right.
to act on.
right. So I mean, sending them a letter, the property owners that have the dog, letting them know that we've, had numerous complaints, giving them our ordinance to let them know, and let them know that the neighbors are aware that at any point the dog is at large or, God forbid, is vicious.
Probably, yeah.
And I know Brad had said it has been happening for a long time, and Hollingsworth was driving through the subdivision, and the dog was at large. Nobody knew about it, and Ward got the dog
Your
and
responsibility.
took it back to the property owner, and he said the dog was
Yeah,
nice. He just must not like them. So I mean, I feel bad for those people, but I mean, they need to know that when
They
those
need to
are
be
happening.
documenting things.
And call the sheriff's
Yeah.
department when it's happening.
Still have a few ring cameras
Right.
and document it right away.
So that's the question, does the board want to send this to the attorney for review? Or you just want to send a letter to the property owner letting them know what their responsibilities are, and they run the risk of having additional citations, because they already got one?
Yeah, I would just send them a letter reminding them of our ordinances and
Their
their responsibilities.
responsibilities. Jay?
But the only thing I'm concerned about is, can you give Attorney Macy all the information, documentations of what we did, so,
We didn't
He
do
has-
anything.
We haven't done any action yet, but Attorney Macy's seen everything that we have.
Yeah.
The only thing I just worry about is any liability issues for the village here.
Well, that's why John said to reach out to the county and say,
That's,
and then they responded, so.
Yeah.
We're,
So sending
do
them
what we
a,
can.
I mean,
that's the only concern.
my recommendation is to send them a letter, in the regular mail and certified, Brad, just so that we have documentation that we let them know. And, I mean, we can email Stacy, the HOA director, to let her know, and if she wants to tell the HOA if they see any violations, we'll give them the phone number. Everybody's got, we'll give them the emergency and the dispatch number so they can make their calls.
Yep.
Sounds good.
who do you guys want the letter from? Just,
You want it from the board, or do you want Brad to write it? Do you want me to write it? What would you like, what would the board like now?
I would like
I
to
just-
see
Say from the village of Vernon, not to say any specific person, I don't think.
It was a board decision, so you can set the
But
village board.
That's fine.
Yeah. Does that sound good, Brad?
that's fine. Just wanted to make sure.
It's not my name.
Well, I don't care if it's my name, I just wanna make sure that, that if you guys want it to be from the board, that it's from the board, or you want it to be from Karen or me, it doesn't matter from, but we'll just sign it as, we'll draft the letter.
Phone number on it.
And I did email Stacy to let her know that the board was gonna be discussing this at the board meeting, just so that she knew. I don't know if she had a conflict, I never heard back, but just so you know. So, we will jump into announcements. I'll go to the trustees first, and then Jay, any announcements, reports, or communications?
I just like to see everybody be safe when working in their yards, especially with power equipment. If they have to take any power equipment apart to service it or maintain it, I always recommend taking it off the spark plug, and off the battery also. Because you never know machinery with torque, it can always fire up. And I certainly do not want to see anybody get hurt.
Thank you, Jay. Trustee Finch?
80 years ago today, thousands of Americans, English and Canadians, attacked the beaches of Normandy, the free northern Europe. And I just wanted to bring it up so people won't forget. That's all.
Thank you, Gary. Beautiful statement. Trustee Newman, you gotta follow that.
I was gonna say, I can't top that, unfortunately.
Any other announcements? Okay. Trustee Marie? Once again, I echo, I'm sure the entire village board and our administrator echo Gary's comments. I mean, I think every American owes so much, and hopefully our young people understand how much so many people gave for our freedoms that we enjoy explicitly.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to go into my 400 meetings because I just wanted to say I'm going to have Brad, you're gonna do an announcement on the IA classes that the sheriff's department is offering?
Sure.
Okay. And then,
Sure.
Classes?
yeah, I'll have Brad do that in his announcement, and then, I don't know if you saw, but I know, I didn't see it, Nick had called and said that, search team from Texas is gonna be at Big Bend Elementary School on Saturday at 7:30 to look for Isaac Kramer, and they're looking for volunteers, to join them, so Big Bend Elementary at 7:30. Unfortunately, I have grandma duty, so I can't help, so, just wanted to let board members know. And then, I know Nick sent it to me, I can't find my email, but, Brad, when you do your report, if you can find your email, Nick wanted to make sure that the public knew that they would be invited to this, special, artificial intelligence meeting that the sheriff's department is holding for all the, and they're going to do a report on all the, and things that are happening in Waukesha County with IA. I just wanted to add one more thing, Brad, before I send it over to you. As you know, we had that issue with somebody doing naughty things to our checking account. I just wanted the board to know in my announcements that I check our account every morning and every night, and nothing has happened since then. I just wanted to report that, just so you know. Brad, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. I don't have, I couldn't find the email for the artificial intelligence stuff, but I will look for it and we'll disseminate it out. The Sheriff's Department is doing another cybersecurity training. I know they did one last month or in late April, and the class filled up right away. So it is something that's been very popular, but they are going to do another go around of it. The only things that I have to report is you guys will have, I'll be on vacation for the next meeting. Liquor license will be on there. We've published a notice for it. You guys will in the upcoming meetings, open book and board review stuff is coming up. So now is the opportunity and the time for people who got notices to jump on that. And then the final thing is that before I'll see you guys again, starting June 26th, ballots for the August primary will be in our hands, or that is the tentative schedule. So by the end of June, absentee ballots for August will be mailed out, as they have to be mailed out 45 days prior to a federal election. So before you know it, we will be in the midst of election season again.
So Brad, do you have the date on cybersecurity?
It is Thursday, July 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Administration Building, Room 155 at the courthouse.
That's a big room. So they're encouraging residents to attend that, and you're going to get the latest information from the county on that also. Sound good? Mm-hmm. All right, board members, we're moving on to, we have Brett already did his DPW report, so accounts payable. Brad, the only thing on the city banks, can someone call? There's $11.99. I mean, I know we have to pay that bill, but there's $11.99 on the Adobe account.
Oh, yes.
Can you just do a request to Adobe? A lot of times they'll just send a credit, to the village. I mean, we have to pay that bill as it stands, but if someone could just contact Adobe and let them know that's for a government and we shouldn't be charged.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only, everything else I talked to department heads or, so mainly Brett, I just had a couple, especially when I saw the hose on there. I thought, hey, we bought that machine, but it was a hose that they couldn't make. Well, I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $22,843.02, with the understanding that, the staff would send a request to Adobe to reimburse us for the $11.99. Is there a second to the motion? Second by trustee Finch and Newman. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Manual checks. Brad, you have any manual checks? And Brad, I don't know if on the trans ACH, is there any way you can put, like, I know there's 149 pages of the ACH transactions. Can you put everything in a month? Like,
Sure.
Could you just, do that? Because that way you don't have to, refer to one document and all your if we put it out, you know, I'm sure Workhorse can,
Yeah, we can run it by month.
yeah, I mean, don't rerun the payroll, you got that, that's
Yep,
perfect.
that one.
Just, ACH, if you wouldn't mind, so if board members just table that, just so we can do our due diligence. Brad's working on the final portions of 2020-23, so we'll get those numbers hopefully soon to, Workhorse, so that they can, start importing the numbers from 2020-23, so Terry can start doing bank recs too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so hopefully, once we get that done, things should go fast.
Mm-hmm.
2020-23 audit, the major thing is getting those 2020-23 financials done. So, Brad, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I don't have anything else on that.
All right. Then we're gonna jump into minutes. Let's see, the first set of minutes are, May 7th, it was the village board tour of the facility. The only thing is, Jeff Millie's name was spelled wrong in one of the motions. He forgot the S. For Jeff Millie. But I'd make a motion to approve, with that one correction. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Peck. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm sure, was there any opposed? I'm sorry, was anybody opposed to that? I didn't even ask. It passed unanimously. May 14th, special board meeting. The only thing is, my name's spelled wrong. It's Karen Shuck. I would make a motion to approve those minutes if you just spell my name right, Brad.
Yes.
You did that purposely. You're trying to trick me, aren't you?
See if you guys are paying attention.
Second to that, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Finch. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The 16th will be you'll get that in the
Yep, next one.
Brad. May 18th, it was a village board meeting to review the village hall facilities. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'm not seeing that in here.
Towards the end. We had
That'd be at
two-
the end. That'd be
Yeah.
at the end.
Last one,
Yeah, and I'm
Second
sorry,
to-
the May 20th,
Second
I
last.
forgot.
I got the 20th here.
Yeah, there, it's in there, the 18th.
17th,
There's a 17th.
Oh, maybe the date on it's wrong.
Saturday, 17th.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a Saturday, so it is the 17th.
So 18th would be a Sunday.
Well,
Yeah,
it
well, it doesn't matter, the 17th then.
Yeah.
would have been the 18th. The date on here is, in the,
Yeah, it was a Saturday and a Monday.
yeah, 18th is correct.
Yeah,
So if it says 17th,
Make a
17th,
motion to fix it to the 18th then.
is that what it says in there?
It says the
Yeah.
17th.
Okay.
yeah.
So you made a motion to approve with the correction of the date being May 17th for the village board meeting with public review for the village hall. Is there a second to trustee Newman's motion?
It would be the 18th?
yes,
It'd be, so we'd fix it to become the 18th, not the 17th.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading the 18th on the agenda.
Oh.
Yeah, just with that correction. And trustee Finch second that motion. Is there a discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. May 20th, the village board for public review for village hall facility. I forgot that other set, that other May 20th. There's two May 20th.
Oh, were they not? Yeah, one was,
For the,
I think both are done, but,
yeah, they're both in there, but I didn't list it on the agenda.
okay, yes, that's fine.
The there's two May 20ths on there. One is for, what is it for?
Was the special meeting we had for the Center Drive Bridge?
Oh, okay, yes. So that's not on here, but the other May 20th when we had the open house for the public facility. We'll put that on the next one, Brad. I'll make that motion, well, I'll wait for a motion to approve. Well, trustee Finch,
No, we have two May 20th in the packet.
Yeah, but only one's on the agenda.
yeah, so you only can approve the May 20th public review. So I have a motion made by trustee Finch, is there a second to that motion? Second by trustee Newman, discussion. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, we have our next meeting on the 20th of June. We have a plan commission board meeting on June 12th. Open book for our residents is June 11th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Brad, are people calling in on that yet?
I haven't had a ton of calls on it. Like I said last time, we sent out 300 and something letters. We found a couple parcels that weren't caught just through sales, so I haven't had anybody call. I had some people from last year reach out. but that's it.
Okay, and board review is June 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. And also just a special note, we have our regular board meeting in July would be on the 4th of July, and with that, we're meeting on July 2nd so that we can celebrate our 4th of July with our residents. With that, I'd make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to what the village president stated and is printed on the agenda. Is there a second to my motion? It was in the very beginning of the meeting. I asked them. I had a motion made.
You have a second?
I second it.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry. Well, we'll give it to trustee Mills.
Yes.
Brad, could you please do the roll call vote?
Trustee Millies,
Yes.
trustee Newman,
Yes.
trustee Finch,
Yes.
trustee Pecca,
Yes.
President Shu.
Yes. Board members, we are in closed session. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having
Sorry, Karen, I'm.
Thank you.